I want to explain how I located the deck beam here, which will be where the dash is. So this is relocated deck beam number 5. So to get where this is positioned, what I did is use this drawing. So these drawings actually are to scale. So, and I've used this actually for helping to locate like where the strut goes and other reference measurements. Actually, I've done this quite a bit. But so this, the distance between like these two frames per the design of the boat are 26 inches. So to scale, this measures like 2.15 inches. So then when I measure a dimension, anything in here, if I'm trying to find dimension, I basically divide it by 2.15 and multiply it by 26, and then that gives me the actual real boat dimension for whatever I'm doing. Now, for that relocated deck beam number 5, which is shown here, what I did on this drawing is I measured from the front all the way to an edge, the back edge of it, and then of course divided by 2.15 and then multiply by 26. So then I get 87 2/3 inches. And so then what I come over here is I measure from the front of the boat, and on that drawing it does include, it includes the outer planking. So I measure from the front, and I come back here and I measure 87 2/3. So that's how I relocated, or how I located where this beam goes. Even though I stretched the boat just a little bit, my frames per the plans say 26 inches apart. When I did basically 26.5, so I stretched it a little bit, but I did not proportionally stretch this dimension. I wanted to go ahead and leave it per the plans because I didn't stretch the boat that much. Plus I want to make sure I have enough room. I actually want the boat a little longer back here for the engine location, and because things get pretty tight. And so that's how I did that. And then to make sure that it was essentially square this way, what I did is I measured from the back of the boat. I measured from like this corner, I think what I did, and kind of located where this deck beam is. And so I made sure that this deck beam was square to the back on each side, just to make sure that was the same. And then I measured from here up. And so that's just to make sure that this dimension was the same. And so, I made sure in the center is still at 87 2/3, and then made sure that these on each side of the boat from the back were the same. So that's how I did it. The different ways to do it. You'd think I could just measure from like this frame, but or this deck beam, but back. But what I found is my frames aren't all exactly where they're supposed to be. Even though I was really careful when I was building the boat and mounting the frames, they just are still not exactly right. So anyway, that's how I did it. So I figured from the back of the boat forward is a good way to make sure that's square. And then when I actually mount this, I'll make sure the angle of this is close to the angle of this, straight up and down. And I've got a little digital angle meter that I'll use for that. So that is how I located where this beam is going to go. And then the dash, of course, will mount, the dashboard will mount to this at an angle. So obviously I don't have these all fixed permanently yet, but I'm getting there.